Gator, you just said you feel pretty good about the Lions this week. Not going to be every Friday you tell people you think they can win.
Right.
You also told us, hey, if you were looking at Cincinnati and the Lions and where they're at in their rebuilds and what they have on the docket, so to speak, you asked the question, who would you rather be right now? Are you going to say the Lions?
I'm not going to say the Lions, but I can make a case for it.
Okay.
I give the reason I would say Cincinnati over the Lions is because I believe in Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be one of the really, really top 10 quarterback in the next couple of years. And that's going to make up for a lot of other deficiencies you have. They've got the receiver Jamar Chase, who's outstanding. But where I like the Lions is if I were to build a football team, I would start in the trenches. I would build both the offensive and defensive lines. And I think the Lions have made a commitment to doing that over the last couple of years. And even before this crew got here, they made that commitment when they drafted Ragnow and Decker and Jonah Jackson, and real good start. And then this group comes in and they go ahead and draft Penei Sewell. Look, on the defensive side, they used, second and third round picks on taking defensive linemen to go in there. They traded for Brockers. They signed Acquire to an extension. I like building from the inside out. The Lions have a longer ways to go because they still need to figure out who the quarterback is going to be, and they need receivers. They need a number one receiver, and in my mind, they need a number two receiver. I like Quintez Cephas, but I'm not buying that he's a number two receiver in the NFL just yet, and I'm certainly not buying anybody else that's on the team right now as a number two. Defensively, the Lions, it doesn't look good, but what they did on Sunday was a step in the right direction. I don't know really how to evaluate what we're going to see because the secondary is just in shambles. Like Tracy Walker, and he's having a really good season this year at safety, but the corners, I don't know. Warrior at times flashes, but not enough consistently. Okuda, it's year 2. We're not going to see him. They got work to do there. And linebacker-wise, I certainly like Barnes, but he's not even starting. They went with Germ. Jalen Reeves-Maben is getting the start ahead of him. But there are things I like about what the Lions are doing with this rebuild, but it's mostly in the trenches. But the big question mark is who's going to lead this team to get them to the level that they need to be. And it may be Jared Goff. I doubt it.
Right.
But it might be, but I doubt it. And they're going to have to find that quarterback. And they could do it this year in the draft. But if you watch college football, nobody's really separated themselves as making you think that's a can't-miss prospect.
No, I think the way you put it is right. Lions are building inside out. The Bengals are building outside in. But the trump card is probably they have Joe Burrow and you have Jared Goff. It's a Freaky Friday kind of question. Who would you rather be? How are these rebuilds going? Because these are two teams that are trying to get themselves up off the mat. 248-539-9797. Lions and Bengals this weekend at Ford Field. They're 0-5. And I think some people are feeling frustrated with this football team, to say the least, right? You talk about trying to get a win for Dan Campbell at some point. I'm actually pretty happy with how the season's gone so far. I mean, the defense is getting a little better. You got tank commander Jared Goff steering the offense, meaning they're going to lose a bunch of football games, which we knew going in. This was a deal where you wanted a good draft pick. You wanted something at the top of the draft to make. Now, you wish you knew who your quarterback was going to be for sure. But I like that the defense is getting a little better. They're fighting for the coach. The coach cares. He's aggressive. And they're losing because they don't have a QB. I mean, to me, this was the dream situation. In fact, I think I did a show with you this summer, and I said my dream scenario is the defense gets a little better, but Jared Goff sandbags him because he's no good, and it ushers in a proper rebuild. I mean, is that not the team we've seen through 5 games?
It kind of is, except that the 2 games they should have won, it's a defensive letdown at the end of both of those games that allowed them to lose.
Yeah, but the Minnesota game, they were only in it because of the defense.
I'm not going to disagree with that. The defense did a great job up until they needed to make one more play, and they didn't make the one more play. And is that's it's you could say it's because it was the prevent defense that Aaron Glenn put out there, or you can believe what the Lions, what they were basically saying is it wasn't a defense, it's that a player missed his assignment, and that's I kind of lean towards both of it because I don't like rushing 3 in that situation at the end on that last play, because you needed to get pressure. There was still time. They didn't have any timeouts left. You had an opportunity there, just like I didn't like it at the end of the Ravens game. I didn't have as big of a problem at the end of the Ravens game because that was a more dire situation for Baltimore, and I understood it more. But in both cases, there was failure by the personnel to execute the play.
But we knew they were going into the season with an arm tied behind their back. Like, look at the personnel that they have to work with. I agree. I wanted them to send more pressure against Baltimore, more pressure at the end against Minnesota. Now, the difference with those two games, Baltimore, they were far too conservative at the end offensively, right? With the, hey, we'll settle for a field goal, we'll burn timeouts, hope the bad thing doesn't happen with Justin Tucker as the kicker, ... Against Minnesota, they were aggressive. They went for it. They scored. Campbell has been mostly aggressive this season, which I like.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody does. I like that he says, hey, for a long time, these decisions have been made conservatively in coaching circles. The numbers, whether he's using them or not, support more of these aggressive decisions. So I like that he's making the right calls, and if they lose, they lose. If they lose because the defense can't cover anybody, so be it. But they're not actually losing because the defense is awful. They've only scored 17 points in these last 4 games. So they're losing more so because the offense is sputtering because Jared Goff can't get them going, right?
Well, is it he can't get him going or he doesn't have the receivers to get things going? And that your one option you do have that's a plus option is T.J. Hawkinson, and every team that's going to game plan against the Lions is going to try to stop T.J. Hawkinson. You take him away, what are your options?
Yeah, but this is
Daryl Hodge, Trinity Benson, Khalif Raymond. These are throw it out in the backfield to one of the running backs, that's option number 2 that they're going to try to take away. So
no more Quintez Cephas even now. So I get your point, but Goff was this guy in L.A. too, where he was a turnover machine. Right, the last couple of years, his yards per attempt went down and his turnovers went up.
The fumbling
that's troubling.
The fumbling is ridiculous,
and that's been a big problem this season, right? For Jared Goff, he leads the NFL in fumbles.
He's got 6 fumbles and he's lost 4 of them. That's a problem.
So, but that's perfect to me because your defense is getting better. Goff's going to be Goff, and it'll usher in a new quarterback. They'll lose a bunch of football games. Like, this is what I wanted to happen this season. Now, you ride the emotional roller coaster as a Lions fan where you have these field goals beat you at the end, and maybe you don't have a great feeling immediately following the game. But honest question for Lions fans, as you check in 5 games in, are you not happy with what you've seen?